And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford along with you here on a Hump Day Wednesday. Glad to have you. I'm going to go ahead and talk to Juju earlier this morning. I'm going to go ahead and go to that as I've got Bill Bender coming in here shortly. So I want to make sure we get everything covered that we need to. So let me go ahead and play that interview from earlier this morning. I got updates for the CVAC basketball tournament. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. But for right now, let's go talk to our good friend Juju and see what's on his mind. And welcome back. Back half of the month of February 16th. It's a Wednesday, which means we always talk to our good friend Juju Phillips. Juju, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Lanny, good morning. Always a pleasure on this hump day to join you, talk a little sports. And, I think we're on the back end of it. Maybe maybe the winter weather, the snowy weather, it may be over. We may have one snowstorm left, but I think things are going to start to improve.
Yeah, I don't think we have a whole lot of anything left when it comes to winter weather, but that's okay. I actually feel like we had some winter this year, which was nice.
Yeah, it is. We did. We sure did.
What's going on in your world, my friend?
Well, I was looking. I thought it very interesting, Lanny, that as much as we follow the Panthers and talk about the Panthers and the Steelers, both our favorite teams, that those two franchises are kind of swapping coaches. Mm-hmm. You've been keeping up with offensive coaches for the Steelers. They've hired away now two former Carolina Panther offensive coaches, both who were fired by Matt Rule and the Panthers earlier, right after the season was over. And turns out the Steelers have hired a wide receivers coach who played with coached with the Panthers. And then yesterday they hired the former Panthers offensive line coach to be the Steelers' new offensive line coach. And I thought it interesting because the Panthers, over the last couple of years, they ranked near the bottom. In fact, I think they were third from the second or third worst in all of the NFL last year in offense and in running the football. And the Steelers have gone ahead and hired a couple of former Panther coaches. And I just thought it very interesting. Your thought? I'm
going to give you a very I don't mean anything offensive to the people involved on this, but I'm going to give you a phrase that I learned at Bunker Hill High School when I was coaching there. And I think this pretty well sums it up when you talk about the Panthers. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo. And it's not always the coaches. They can change coaches all they want to, but if they do not change the personnel that they're working with, nothing's going to change. There's nothing magical about this. If you continue to put spoiled milk in your cake recipe, it ain't coming out sweet. It's just that simple. I don't care if you change bowls, if you change the pan that you're baking in, got to change the ingredients, and that's where the Carolina Panthers get lost. They can't figure out they've got to make personnel upgrades. I don't care who's coaching them.
Yeah, the acquisition of talent is probably the most important thing when it comes in the NFL. And if you look at some of these websites, Pro Football Focus is very good, and they rate some of the players in each team in terms of how much talent that they have. And the Panthers have, over the last couple of years, have been near the bottom in terms of the kind of talent guys that come in that are rated heavily coming out of college. And they're not very good in terms of that, the Jimmies and Joes, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And the Steelers are somewhere in the middle, or have been in the middle. But as much as I follow the Steelers, I don't think most average football fans care or probably know and could name one or two, probably couldn't even name an offensive line coach in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I could, and some of the famous offensive line coaches in NFL history. And so why they're making a big deal about it in Pittsburgh, that they hired a former Panthers offensive line coach, Pat Meyer. I think it's interesting that both Meyer and their receivers coach that they hired last week both coached at NC State at one point. And the Steelers offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, also was an offensive coordinator at NC State a few years ago. So there's some familiarity with him, and maybe that's what head coach Mike Tomlin is trying to do. As for the Panthers, I really don't know. I think it's a shakeup for their coaching staff this year, because I think that Matt Rule is on the hot seat.
Well, I think I may have told you that the majority of the coaches in the league feel like Matt Rule is a lame duck coach. He's in it for one more year, and that's it. They'll make a change. I don't know that he could win a Super Bowl, and they would keep him because there's not a whole lot of confidence there. The part that amazes me, Juju, is not only from a player standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, everything that comes through Carolina that they filter out that, you're just not what we're looking for. They go somewhere else and become successful.
Yeah, they do. There have been a few cases of that. This season coming up for the Panthers reminds me a whole lot of the John Fox era, the end of the John Fox era, when everybody knew that they weren't going to be very good and he was going to get canned at the end of the year, and they ended up, being very bad, and they ended up drafting Cam Newton. So maybe that's David Tepper's his thinking, big picture down the road. I don't know, but there are some question marks, definitely. The other interesting story, if you followed the Super Bowl, the TV ratings, there were over 112 million people. It's the most watched TV show of any kind on TV in the last 5 years. And you want to take a guess on the number, which NFL market had the most fans watching Super Bowl?
Green Bay?
No, they were in the top 5, though. They were 4th.
Okay. I don't know.
Cincinnati.
They said that the crowd was about 60-40, even though it was a home game for the Rams. It was about 60-40 on the fan split.
Yeah, and, Los Angeles, they were, I think, 22nd. No, yeah, they were 22nd in terms of their fans in their market watching the Super Bowl. Detroit was 2nd, Pittsburgh 3rd, and as I mentioned, 4th, and then Jacksonville was 10th. They were ahead of Los Angeles. Charlotte came in at 23. So not a lot of fans in Charlotte were watching the Super Bowl, at least if you look at the numbers.
But Charlotte does match up now. If they came in 23rd, they are the 23rd largest market. So that would be, you would think that would be about right. Of course, the Detroit tie being at 2nd is Matt Stafford. And Matt Stafford always did a good job. I'm going to give you my reasoning on why. Okay? I'm going to tell you why I think this game was so watched. A couple of reasons. The number one reason in my eyes, and here again, this is Lanny's opinion. I'm not asking anybody to get behind me or believe it or anything else. But my number one reason is there was no drama involved with it. It was just pure sports. I made a comment before when we were on yesterday. That game, we have our little group chat that we do. There was no action on the group chat, and I think it was because it was a game that just kind of held you to the screen. It wasn't a highlight reel, but it held you to it. It was good football. There wasn't anything that distracted from the game, and I think it was an opportunity. People are ready to get back to just the normalcy. Leave all the noise outside. I just want to be able to enjoy something.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think all the noise, as you say, probably happened at halftime.
Yeah, we're just too old.
Other than that, it's not going to go down as the greatest Super Bowl ever, but it's not going to go down as the worst ever. And I think you're right. It was at times it was compelling, and like the NFL likes to do it, they like to wait it's like the old-fashioned NBA games. You wait to the final few minutes in the game or the fourth quarter, and it gets very interesting. And that's what happened to the Super Bowl on Sunday. Is there probably are 3 or 4 plays that are being dissected among the experts out there that happened in that game in the fourth quarter, and that made the game very interesting. Made it a one-possession game. Went down to the final possession, of course. And you're right. Again, I don't think neither team. The Rams aren't going to go down in history as one of the greatest Super Bowl winners ever. But there were some compelling reasons why they did what they did, and I think they maybe have the best defensive player on the planet on their team. And so they win the Super Bowl. First time they've won it as a Los Angeles Rams, even though they've been in the Super Bowl before and won it before in other cities. But yeah, I think you're right, Lanny. Overall, no big drama, no political arguments or anything like that. And I think it played out just like probably the NFL and would have wanted it. And with 112 million people I mean, yeah, you can't argue with that.
No, I think it was a good one. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I saw yesterday that Cincinnati Bengal assistant Al Golden is going to be named Notre Dame's new defensive coordinator. Of course, Al Golden spent some time at was he at Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
yes.
right? And another Temple, I believe that was the other program he was at.
Yes.
He's about a 500 record as a head coach, but undoubtedly he's somebody, and he probably is more geared for the college game than the pro game.
Yeah, he has coached before at both levels, and I think maybe, it's funny, and we talked about this offensive line and assistant coaches in the NFL. And I've known a couple of guys that have been in the NFL. It seems like when you get there as an assistant coach, you just recycle. Mm-hmm. You move around 3 or 4 years, and it's like the mafia, man. Once you're in, right? It's hard to get out. And I think that's probably the case. And maybe Al Golden has decided that he's better suited for the college game.
And I think it's a great hire for the simple reason Marcus Freeman is young. He moved up to the head coaching job. And some of the things that he's done is he has went out and he has hired some former head coaches, and that's how you make it. Don't think that you know everything, and don't be intimidated because you brought a head coach in. But I want to say that Golden, he's the only one that's had significant head coaching experience, but the other side of it is he is a huge recruiter of the Northeast. And when you hire coaches, you not only hire them for their coaching ability, but also for their recruiting ability to help you as well.
And Notre Dame has been historically in the Northeast.
Yes.
From
yes.
Pennsylvania, Ohio, all the way up into the Northeast, into Jersey, that part. They've been traditionally very strong in that area. The other important thing when you're hiring former head coaches to be on your staff, Landy, you almost have to get the right mix, because you and I both know at any level, you have some head coaches who do not have very much egos. And then you have others who are they have to be the center of attention. They have huge egos. Now, you have to have an ego to be a head football coach at any level. But there are certain former head coaches or certain football coaches that don't mind sharing the limelight, or like being in the background, so to speak. And maybe that you're right, Marcus Freeman is doing that, but again, that's a tricky thing to hire former assistant coaches.
The other thing, and I wasn't aware of this till I read the article, is when he was at Temple, when Al Golden was at Temple, Matt Rule and Ryan Day were assistants on his staff.
Wow, that's a pretty good coaching tree, right?
Well, one of them is.
Yeah.
Okay, but Golden is also in Temple's Hall of Fame.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, I think he's a great guy. I think he was over his head at Miami. I think that was one of the problems that he had there. But, he will probably do real well. And if he does at Notre Dame, he'll probably get another shot at a head coaching job.
Probably will, and maybe have a chance to maybe a Power 5 school. I don't know. What is he over? He's around 60, right? He's
I
close
want to say
60.
that's
maybe
close.
Not. Maybe he thinks this is his, one chance to maybe put Notre Dame back in the national limelight. I don't know, but certainly it's not going to hurt him. You're right.
And I guess you saw our boy Drinkwater at Missouri is still struggling. He's going to promote Blake Baker to defensive coordinator. I'm going to say that he is probably on his last leg as well when it comes to a head coaching job up at Missouri.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up as an offensive coordinator, or part of Nick Saban's rehabilitation staff, and those guys that go down there to become analysts.
Yeah.
To rehabilitate their reputation and their coaching acumen, and maybe I wouldn't be surprised to see Drinkowitz getting an offensive coordinator job someplace,
right,
in a Power 5 school if it doesn't work out at Missouri.
Anything else you got, sir? I know you're busy.
I don't have anything, Lanny. I was gonna mention next week when we're together again on Monday, but it's interesting. There's some local sports Hickory High School basketball ranked number 1 in the state. I don't know in 3A. I don't know if they've ever been number 1 ranked in the state, at least recently, over the last 25 or 30 years. And again, Fred T. Ford High School's wrestling team won another state championship recently. We hope to have their coach, Mike Carey, on with us sometime next week. But those local stories are very interesting. We're getting ready for basketball playoffs coming up, high school basketball playoffs. And it'll be interesting to follow because I think some local teams are going to do very well, including Hickory High School.
I think you're exactly right. Juju Phillips, we appreciate your time, sir. Look forward to getting you back in here on Monday.
All right, man. I will talk to you. You have a great rest of the weekend.
We'll take a time out and be back with more here on The Bottom Line.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. And welcome back. We'll catch Bill Bender here in just a few minutes. Let me catch you up on last night tournament action inside the CVAC. And then also Richie had a trivia question for us this morning. And let me get that one. I got to get everything set up here. I got some new equipment coming. It's going to make my life easier because this is driving me nuts. Way too many buttons to push. I can go ahead and tell you that. Rich has had a trivia question. Who has the longest TD run in Super Bowl history? I'll throw that one out there and see if anybody knows. Brandon said, are markets based on coverage area, not just the city names? Charlotte, for example, Brandon, is 14 counties. 14 counties surrounding the Charlotte area makes up the Charlotte radio TV market. A little over 2 million people. I used to fuss when I was at ESPN 730 with the Nielsen ratings. And the reason was at that time they were doing electronic. They'd put out about, 2,500 monitors, electronic monitors, and that was to represent 2 million people. And it was just a mathematic equation, and I just never believed in it. Now, I think it's different on TV because I think there's a device set up that actually monitors it, but I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that just to be sure. Those results from the CVAC last night. On the women's side, Newton Conover had a bye as the number 1 seed. I think it was West Caldwell did not field a team. So on that side of the bracket, it was Bandy's and Maiden. Bandy's beat Maiden 57-39 to advance to take on Newton Conover tonight, 6 o'clock CVCC. Tonight, 6 o'clock CVCC. And then on the other side of the bracket in the ladies, it was East Burke over Lincoln 36-14. And it was West Lincoln falling to Bunker Hill 69-40. So it'll be East Burke, Bunker Hill. That'll be at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. On the men's side, it was West Caldwell over Newton Conover 71-59. And it was West Lincoln over Bandy's 64-51. And that'll set up West Lincoln and West Caldwell tonight, 8 o'clock CVCC, or immediately following the girls' game. And then on the other side of the bracket, it was Maiden over Bunker Hill, 63-48, and Lincoln by 2 against East Burke, 60-58. So that'll set up a Maiden-Lincoln matchup tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I don't thank Chris Hobbs for those, HobbsDailyReport.com, to get those scores in for me. Let me go over to the phones. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. We were just catching up on some local basketball tournament action down here. Juju and I were talking earlier. I get your take on it. If you look at professional football, Carolina Panthers, they keep jettisoning coaches and players, and there's plenty of teams. The latest is the Pittsburgh Steelers picking up a couple of coaches. Players go up to Buffalo. They seem to leave the Carolina Panthers and make a difference for the teams they go to. It looks like somebody would wake up and figure out it's not the players.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of coach movement going on right now, and obviously that's going to start the 2022 season. But, we're talking about the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it starts with quarterback too. I mean, Matt Rule's already on the hot seat. The season hasn't even started. Draft's gonna be very important, and they have to have a plan at quarterback. And I don't know if Sam Darnold is going to be the answer for them.
You did an article after the Super Bowl. Give me your thoughts on the Super Bowl? I said this was not a Super Bowl of a highlight reel of plays, but it was a Super Bowl that you could sit down and kind of get consumed into the game because it was so competitive. The numbers were just almost identical. Time of possession, number of plays, number of drives, everything. It's not one of the greatest Super Bowls in history, but it was a really good Super Bowl.
No, it was a good game. It was a well-played game, and obviously, there was a couple controversial calls at the end that are being talked about a lot because they let them play. Then they didn't let them play, and that's one of the things. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Bengals. They had an opportunity there to, make history, get their first Super Bowl win, and it just didn't work out for them. And I think, that's going to be the interesting part is, what do they do next? How do they protect their investment, because they've obviously got a very good quarterback in Joe Burrow.
My understanding is they've got lots of draft picks and they've got lots of cap space available, so they should be able to do that. They got Joe Burrow on a rookie contract, so you got your franchise quarterback on a rookie contract, and that seems to be the secret to really put some pieces around them to make runs. I used to argue with Marty all the time that teams in the NFL have a window, and it's about 4 to 5 years. And if you can't get all the pieces to fall together, everything that you built starts to fall apart, and you have to start over because of salary cap.
Yeah, for sure. And, with Cincinnati, that window is wide open. Burrow's got, it'd be 3 years and an option left on that rookie contract, and they got Jamar Chase. It's a place where I think free agents are going to want to go, but they've got to figure out that offensive line. I mean, a franchise quarterback can't take 70 sacks.
No.
You just can't. Not under any circumstance can they take that many sacks, and they'll have to find ways to protect him in the future.
Joe Burrow is in the record book for a Super Bowl, though. He tied the number of sacks in a Super Bowl at 7, and I cannot remember the other quarterback, but that was a stat that they had out there. We're talking with Bill Bender from Sporting News. Now, the other thing, Bill, the other story that came out yesterday is a lot of talk that Sean McVay may step down and go to ESPN. What do you think about that? They're talking about it's going to be hard for them to repeat because of all the pieces that you're going to have to address, and they're out of money.
I mean, if he's burnt out, I could see it, but I have my doubts that that's going to happen because he's just too good of a coach. I mean, they were obviously all in this year. Don't have much of a draft, but they found a way to do it. And I think, like I said, when you have that much success that early, I mean, it could be a burnout thing, but and he probably would be pretty good in the studio. But, I think once you get out, they're going to want to get back in, and I think he's the guy that belongs on the sideline.
Yeah. Odell Beckham. Do you think we've seen the last of Odell Beckham based on some injuries he's had? Now he's got another knee that he had some damage to or had an issue with during the game. Is he kind of maybe played his last game in the NFL?
I doubt that. I mean, it's going to be a long road back, and obviously he showed value by the way he played. He played well in the Rams offense. He had a rule, very specific rule, and made 2 big catches in the first half of the game, including a touchdown and then the 35-yard catch. And it's unfortunate he's had the injuries that he's had, but yeah, I think he'll be back. I mean, I don't. It's going to be a long road back, and yeah, he's had some leg injuries, but he's the guy that I think will definitely be back somewhere next year.
Yeah. Talking with Bill Bender from Sporting News, you cover college football really heavy. I said during the game the first call I thought that they missed, I thought the calls got a little tight at the end of the game because the game got just a little bit chippy. But the first one they missed was the T. Higgins and Jalen Ramsey, the obvious face mask, pass interference, jerked his head around, pulled him down. And I've said, and I love the way the college game works, is there's a guy in the box, he looks at every play, and if there's something questionable, he buzzes down.
Right. Well, I mean, that play, the ref was trailing and physically could not see it.
Yes.
I was telling people that, he could not see it. So I guess if you had a system where you could buzz down and do that, but knowing the NFL, that would be very controversial. That was one, and then obviously the defensive holding on 3rd and 8 late in the game on Logan Wilson. That's the one that I've been hearing the most about, that, he got through pretty clean, and people were angry, like I said, that they let him play that long. Why didn't they let him play at the end? And those are very real complaints, and to me they're well put, because that was a really tough call against the Bengals in a really tough spot.
Yeah, and when you have a game as close as it was, that's the other side of it. That makes a big difference as well. Now, you put an article up. It's hard to believe, but the March Madness is just around the corner. They've talked for a long time about maybe increasing that field of 68 up to as many as 96. I have said let's do away with conference tournaments, and the weekend before we do the selection, let's only select 32, and then let's have the other 32 have a play-in tournament the weekend before. I don't really want to see it increase to 96 unless they do it in 2 halves like that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think 64 or 68 is a good number. I don't want to water down that tournament. That's such a great event. It's such a good thing for the NCAA. So, we'll see. Obviously, I enjoy doing the bracketology for us, and we're going to get started on that. But one of the things with that, and we talk about this with college football, is we end up talking about the bubble teams more than we do the tournament. And I don't want that to be the case with college football.
You know, when you look down through here, one of the things that's a huge surprise that you usually don't see, ACC's not well represented based on projections out there this year.
Yeah, that's something that sticks out. When Wake Forest, I believe, is their second highest ranked team, and they're like an 8 or a 9. North Carolina hasn't scored a quad 1 victory. Virginia's on the bubble and not looking great. It's definitely something that we're watching with that, and hopefully, this isn't a sign of things to come, because Coach K's on the way out. Boeheim's getting up there. North Carolina, Roy's gone. I mean, you were wondering about the long-term health of the conference.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, and you're wondering also from the Carolina standpoint, is Hubert Davis the guy?
Well, I mean, this is his first year, and I mean, the standards are high there. So I don't, it's year one, and they're still going to get in the tournament. So I think it's just going to come down to how does he recruit over the next 3 to 4 years? Does he maintain the high standards that North Carolina has, and are they able to win, postseason games, getting them there? I mean, it's obviously been a little bit of a rough go against good competition this year.
If you had to pick a surprise that's probably going to get in and a surprise that probably won't get in, who would you say?
Well, I mean, Belmont probably should get in based on their resume playing behind Murray State. They're an intriguing team. And then, of those bubble teams, just look at the Big Ten and the Big 12. They've got several good teams, but some of them are going to have to be left out, like an Iowa State. If they don't start winning, they could be left out. In the Big Ten, Indiana and Rutgers are right there on the bubble as well.
Bill Bender, Sporting News. I appreciate you taking the time. It's always looks like we're going to flip over to college basketball since the NFL is over with. Look forward to chatting with you next week.
Hey, no problem, Lanny. Thanks,
buddy. I appreciate it. That's Bill Bender. Bill does a great job covering all of sports. We'll take another time out and be back with more.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Member today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. You got to take a look behind the scenes here. So I'm sitting here working. I forgot to switch the screen. I'm glad I didn't do anything ugly. Richie is right. The dark horse, Willie Parker out of Clinton High School, has the longest run in Super Bowl history at 75 yards. Marcus Allen was second. I didn't get a chance to read that article about Coach K with Duke and Amaker. I didn't get a chance to see what that was about. Richie said McVay wants to focus on family. Everybody says that. We'll see. He may be just jockeying for some additional money, and we'll have to see how that goes. Let me go one more time, give you the rundown just so you've got them for the tournament, the CVAC tournament in basketball. Here's what we've got, courtesy of Chris Hobbs and the Hobbs Daily Report. On the women's side, Newton Conover had a bye. It was Bandy's over Maiden, 57-39. That's a matchup of Newton and Bandy's tonight at 6 o'clock, CVCC. It was East Burke over Lincoln, 36-14, and Bunker Hill over West Lincoln, 69-40. That's an East Burke-Bunker Hill matchup tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, CVCC. Semis will be played at CVCC as well as the finals. On the men's side, it was Newton Conover falling to West Caldwell, 71-59, and West Lincoln defeating Bandy, 64-51. West Caldwell and West Lincoln will play tonight, 8 o'clock, CVCC. It was Bunker Hill falling to Maiden, 63-48, and East Burke falling to Lincoln in a close one, 60-58. That's a Maiden-Lincoln matchup. That'll be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And then the championship games will be on Friday night starting at 6. The girls will play at 6. The boys will play at 8. All of those at CVCC. I'll get you some updates. We'll have the updates on tonight's matchups tomorrow morning, and see if there's any headlines that I need to hit on right here. I mentioned Adrian Peterson had to turn a plane around, get him off a plane. He was arrested Sunday morning in connection with what airport officials said was domestic violence. According to the airport police statement, they got this call for verbal and physical altercation. He was booked, released on a $50,000 bail. According to he and his wife, they had a verbal argument. And right now they think it's a misunderstanding. They investigated, made required notifications to the FBI. He has a court date set for June 16th. And then his wife and other passengers were able to continue their flight to Houston out of L.A. And according to what I'm reading now, he will not be charged. That's what I'm hearing now. He will not be charged in this event. So we'll wait and see exactly where that's going to do. I know the Dolphins have hired the Chargers. Frank Smith is their offensive coordinator. Dolphins offensive staff under new head coach Mike McDaniel will plan to hire Frank Smith as his offensive coordinator. Smith will work in conjunction with McDaniel, who will call plays, and wide receiver coach Wes Welker, who will help develop Miami's passing game plan. the fourth guy that has joined the staff in Miami. And now, Minnesota, they introduced their new head coach yesterday because they could, because they couldn't do it until after had to wait till after the Super Bowl because he was a member of the Los Angeles Rams staff. So some of the things that maybe folks are wondering about, will Aaron Donald retire, or is he jockeying for more money? From what I heard yesterday, I think he's scheduled to make $9 million. Maybe he's looking for $18 million. Or maybe he had made his daughter a promise that he'd win her a Super Bowl. That's complete. Maybe it's time to hang it up and spend time with the family. The other topic that I heard that was being talked about yesterday was Sean McVay. Sean McVay may step away. We'll see. Steve K., thank you, sir. Steve K. said Lincoln Boys won 60-48. All right, I wrote that down. Wrong. Thank you, sir. Lincoln over East Burke 60-48. Lincoln and Maiden will match up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I appreciate that. Let's see if there's anything else going on. I think there's some games slated for tonight. Take a look. I want to say, I was thinking Carolina played tonight, but maybe they don't. I had it in my mind that they did, but sometimes I lose my mind, so that's not uncommon. Not much left as far as college basketball. I think I heard them say on Saturday's broadcast Carolina's got maybe 2 or 3 home games left is kind of all that they've got left inside the regular season. And I'm not even sure, Richie probably knows, where is the conference tournament this year? I'm not even sure where that's at. It used to be, you could kind of count on it to be close, Greensboro or Charlotte, and then they started moving it around and that type thing. Let's see, the Tar Heels are in action tonight, 8 o'clock. They'll take on Pittsburgh. That Florida State game on Saturday I think was ugly from a score standpoint. Florida State did not play well at all. So they play Pittsburgh tonight at home, then they travel to Virginia Tech, then they play Louisville at home, travel to State, and then Syracuse home. So they've got 3 home games counting tonight. Final home game, or the final game of the season, will be on the 5th of March. As Bill and I were talking, it's kind of surprising when you look down through here. NC State's got a conference record of 4-12, Clemson 4-11, not unusual. You've got to get all the way to Syracuse, middle of the road, to get to 500 at 7-7. Virginia Tech 8-7. Virginia at 10-6, as well as Wake Forest, Carolina, and Miami are at 10-4. Notre Dame 11-3, and Duke at 12-3. Just not quite the tradition that you see out of the ACC. Here's another thing. According to Vivid Seats, you can get a game ticket tonight in the Dean Dome, $7. Think about that. $7. That's unheard of for a home game in Chapel Hill. Brooklyn is what Richie and Steve Cates. I guess that's what's now the Garden, Madison Square Garden. Richie said it wasn't as close as the final showed. Carolina was up 62-24 at halftime. Yeah, when I heard it, I want to say at one point Florida State, they were down, 40 or 50 to 17. I mean, it was a huge margin that I heard when I tuned into the game for just a little bit. So it was not a pretty sight. I've got some things I'm going to have to go out and get done this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and take off. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. I'll see you back here again in the morning at 8 a.m. I know Forrest's traveling, but we'll bring you something here and see what goes on. Have a great day. Beautiful weather day today. Got some rain coming in tomorrow, so watch out for that. If you're out and about looking for a great station to listen to, try WLON, 1050 AM, 107.5 AM, and 1050WLON.com. I do an afternoon shift there from 12 to 3. Hope you can join me. If not, I'll see you here again in the morning. Remember, we got to be careful and take care of each other because nobody else is going to. Have a good one.